Now we'll begin the second part of the morning session where we'll analyze the US and the European markets from different perspectives. Our first presenter, Marcial Hernandez, Global Sourcing Manager from Pacific Trading's Fruit. Then, Ms. Karen Brooks, Executive Director of the Chile Fruits Association, Chilean Fresh Fruit Association, who will analyze the markets in the United States and Canada. Finally, Mr. Matt Hancock, Managing Director of Norton Folgate, who will analyze the challenges and opportunities in the European market. So let's would like to call up to the stage Mr. Marcial Hernandez. Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to share some of our thoughts and experience. That 4% of cherries that you have sent to the US market were very important. We would like to thank you for that. Before we deep dive into the subject, I'd like to tell you a story. I began in the cherry market by chance. I planted 10 hectares of cherry in La Ligua, a avocado zone. And then we went back to avocado 4 years later. 10 years later, that my second experience in cherries was no better. I was working in a packing in New Jersey. You can imagine what a repack was like 10 years ago in the United States. And nowadays we have access to 4% of the production, so things have gotten better. Let's talk about the market. In the United States, people say that it is said that people do not consume fruits. It says that only 1 in 10 U.S. citizen consumes the CDC recommended fruit consumption rate, which is 1.5 to 2 cups a day. And remember all the campaigns in Chile promoting fruit intake, and which follows the same line. So United States, the average is 0.9 cups a day. So this is a huge opportunity for us, linking to what Claudia said in terms of marketing, because we must foster fruit consumption, and that will allow us to develop different categories, not only cherries, but there are works also around grapes, for instance. Well, let's talk about U.S. macroeconomic figures. 330 million inhabitants in the country. And this is important data because we have a little bit more than 47 million children under 12 years of age. And there is where the opportunities for marketing are, because if we want to change consumption patterns, we have to focus on children, because they are the ones that can change these habits in the population. So we must find ways to make cherries more attractive to children and fight against potato chips. We have 160 million people in working and $70,000 annual per capita income. So we have a lot of income in the economy that is not being used. Inflation is stable, around 6 to 7%. And if we talk about unemployment, it is around, it's under 4%. So this is translates into opportunities that we must continue to develop. Now, cherries in the United States. Why is that important? Well, Chile's production and U.S. production are quite similar. They produce and they trade their output in 16 weeks. So what happens with domestic market? You can find numbers that are 60 million boxes, but the statistic of what the Northwest and California produced in the last 3 years, that's the average. And why am I using averages? Because last year's situation was very different from. f- There were there was ice, frost in the California and the Northwest, around 44 million boxes, equivalent to 5 kilos. This is what these two regions produce in the United States: 12 million in California and 32 million in the Northwest.
Now, 70% of this production is consumption, domestic consumption, I mean. So this is a capacity of consumption of 30 million boxes and more. And this is another major opportunity for Chile. Chile also placed last year 3.5 million boxes. California of around 12 million that were produced. That is to say, the average for the 3 years, 9 millions are traded in the domestic market, while the Northwest, 32 million that produced as an average in the last 3 seasons, 23 million of them were traded in the domestic market. Now, if we see the following chart, if you see this chart, you will see the periods of time between California and the Northwest. They pull these fruit in 16 weeks with the peaks that occurred in the second fortnight of June and the first fortnight of July. So the peak is concentrated in these 8 weeks with an average weekly average of 1.6 millions approximately. And so we are very similar in the local production of Chile. What happens now vis-a-vis the movement of this volume? Ads through ads, promotion through marketing, those are the major tools. I will delve into details now concerning the ads and the task they do. But later on, we'll hear in the next presentation more details of that. Here we have data from Nielsen, and I think that 70% of retailers report to this database. This is, as I said before, very representative information, and the total, the overall sales, combining all the regions, including imports in Washington and California, amount to $1 million, with a drop vis-a-vis the preceding season of 3% because the domestic volumes went down. But this is a piece of information I like. I don't know if you are able to see that correctly. 58% of the fruit that were traded were through promotions. California had 51% in ads, Washington Northwest 61%. And congratulations to the marketing team for from Chile because 60% was based on ads. And why do we need to do promotions if Chile is only providing 3.5 millions and California and Northwest 30 millions? We need another, or we are facing another problem. It's not related to volume, but to the quality of fruit. So to have the turnover of this extra large fruit, we need, or we generate that movement of produce through promotions. Concerning now the domestic products in promotion, the red curve shows the 2022 season. Is interesting to see this information because they didn't have 30 million boxes of production in that season, maybe 20 something. millions. And in promotions, the lowest price was 4.99. That is the promotion price at the store per pound. When we speak about promotions, we shouldn't be afraid of this term because it doesn't mean that the fruit goes out for auction sale, but because the promotions are marketing study. Normally, the price is $6 a pound, and in this period of time, is offered at 5.99. So we shouldn't be afraid at all about these promotions. Now, if we see the black curve dating back to 2021, where the throughput was higher between California and Northwest, and the lowest price was 3.99. What does it mean to sell at a store at 3.99 or 4.99? I will use 4.99 because this is a more realistic price for the chilling situation. 3.99 is when these things are blowed out, and we need to move a very significant volume. So we'll focus on 4.99, and the retailer can buy at $33 a box. So I have an ad at 4.99. I can sell the box over $30. I know I cannot compare this to China, but we are speaking here of developing an alternative market. Based on the feedback I received lately, I think that over 20 FOB Chile is favorable. So this allows to develop more consumption. So Chile started with 3.5 million boxes, 10% of the domestic volume. Over 30 that California and the Northwest handle. We have 70% of these arrivals are concentrated from the week number 51 to the 3. The first peak is during the 51st week with 570,000 boxes. The first ship arrived at a time where we were not able to place all the fruits. In order to generate potential and to take advantage of the prices in the United States, we need the fruits arriving at least the 10 or at the latest the 15th of December. But later is not feasible. So the fruit went to the next week, short week, because Monday was a holiday, and a lot of these fruits of the first ship were sold in the first week of January finally. So it took 10 days to move the whole volume of this ship that had over 300,000 boxes. So it's important to observe this and how to arrive there earlier. Packaging. The traditional packaging is the bag, 1 pound bag, random weight, but normally is 1 pound without exceeding 20% of that volume. Some retailers love the clamshell, and we try to develop a program with this Blam Dulcinea that allows to promote, to do the promotion with the retailers with all the prestige they know in the area of the water or the melon, sorry. And people in the United States don't prefer the clamshell. People ask me a lot about the clamshell. One of the difficulties related to the clamshell is the problem of storage, of recycling. Today, people are very aware of this idea of recycling and how to contribute to the environment right from the households. And putting a bag in the garbage is easier than putting or disposing these clamshells. Personally, I like the clamshell because the fruit is protected, it looks better, and I would love that we were able to develop more programs to use the clamshell as a container. Now, who are the importers? Almost 50 companies in the United States imported fruits in the last season, and 70% of this volume is absorbed by the first 9 ones. It's shown here 10. But there is something I never liked too much, and I've been complaining with Claudia about this information. And today, having transparency also for the information is a vital element for the development of a market. And when we have over 700,000 boxes, we don't know actually who is handling the market, who is moving all of this volume. And this is a policy or a strategy that should be changed in the market with complete transparency to know and on the hands of whom these routes are going through. And well, I think that this is one of the issues that should be further reviewed. Now, the distribution of sizes. We have some of our own data. We are exporting over 300,000 boxes and representing 6% of the volume that Chile uh, shipped out to the United States. 15% was large size, extra large size, 42%, jumbo, 41%. In the United States, they don't have the market for extra large, so we are cheating and we put large for those who are accepting the extra large, and those are practices that we should completely change because we are deceiving the final consumer, and this reduces the turnover. If I want to sell uh, cherries at $6 a pound, I cannot offer this extra large at that price. So we have to focus on jumbo and a little more. And then we'll see what happened with the prices for those sizes. Some is interesting issues. These are real figures, real data concerning the prices and the sizes. I took the numbers related to the fruit containing bags so because we receive also in bulk and other formats, and the bag is the main format for these fruits. Important pieces of information: 16% was to repacking due to problem of quality or condition. Then we have 14% of rejects, and if we add up what we packed from the QC inbound and then the rejects, we have almost 30% of the fruit that did not qualify or did not meet the minimum requirements expected by the retailers, and that is another pending issue. So in here we have the fruit in shells, fruit that is very premium and arrives in very good condition. These are airfare transportation anyway, and this is good size. We have a very good bag. Maybe you will recognize here the label. I didn't ask for permission to use these labels, by the way. Where is that 30% down that the market doesn't like? That is the pitting. It's not severe pitting in the fruit, but requires repacking. The repacking amounts to $12 per box. This is a fruit that is softer, the stems are deteriorated, and the pitting is more severe, and the pitting now represent 40% of loss in a repacking. Now the average market, the large and extra large fruits, 29% 28.85 in sales terms. This 29 is the average of the clean sale. There are no rejects, no repacking. The fruit arrives perfect, and we could have sold out the fruits in that average. So it was around $30. The same happens with the jumbo and extra jumbo, 34 to $36, and I can promise FOB of $25 per box. That is the return that is expected for fruits that are exported to the United States. And how was distributed now in terms of prices? And now we break down the sound and unsound fruits. The sound fruit is the one that is placed in order and nobody complained. And then the unsound is the one that represents some complaints. In this case, is 8% approximately over these sales of 225,000 boxes, and you can see the rejection ratio in these different categories. And definitely the category is significant, is relevant. Sorry, the size is relevant because it doesn't just provide more turnover for the food, but the size gives access to a fruit of better quality. Now we see the price curve for the sound fruit. The lowest price was around the 1 and 5. Those are the averages of sales that were around $30, but there was a lot of sales in these sizes, large and extra large, that are the most important ones we receive.
The first chart are the air transported fruit for the 49 and 50 weeks, which are more profitable for the airlines than for the producer, and the rest is um, maritime transportation. So here, the red cherry for jumbo and plus, and the green extra large, it's always a bit lower than the rest. How are how is the fruit sold in the stores? Here you can see sale 5.99, 6.99. This is an ad, $1 lower. Maybe this was 6.5, 6.99, and now what sales 5.99, and the quality is relatively okay. 3.49, but that's what they're selling. So I can't sell this fruit not even for 3.49. Conclusion: the United States has a huge consumption potential due to the size of its population and the low consumption of fruit. And the United States, as a country, is working hard in increasing fruit intake. And we have to find ways to contribute to that development. Chile reaches only 10% of the potential consumption volume in the United States. So we have a lot of room for improvement. When we talk about 3 million boxes and millions of boxes, we would get scared. They would say it. It seemed like they were talking about a monstrous figures, but I think that we have capacity to move 10 million boxes. And I saw a presentation on the same subject a few days ago that they were speaking of 20 million boxes. I want to be a little bit more conservative. I think that we must aim for 10 million boxes. I think that the figures presented by Claudia are reaching more or less that level. Sizes: extra large is the new large. 3 years ago, when we would get 500,000 boxes, I was happy with the large size. But now, extra large is the new large, and quality should be better than what we send to China because Americans they buy cherries by the looks and they have whims in which they buy the, the fruit. There's no really much relation with nutrition or consumption. So people will more than prices evaluate how the fruit looks. So appearance is paramount. The campaign should focus on nutrition and health because cherries they have health benefits, but nobody talks about that like they talk about blueberries. There is no or pomegranates. So I think that there is an element there in terms of healthcare that we should take advantage of. Communication and marketing are fundamental. This narrative that we want to convey as a country and how we tell that story. And this slide is my final slide. Many of us got this last year after the Costco purchaser or buyer told us that we need to change the prices of our program. It went from 62 to 70, 64 to $48. And why? Because there was a huge cherry supply. It's a lot of fruit. However, if we put that in context, we have to tell people in Costco, we will send you only 10% of what you consume in your domestic production. So it is very important to tell the right message and to convey the right information to try to get back Costco prices to $64. Thank you very much.